Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about yet another aspect of this work that I do called future visioning, which I like to also call new metaphysics for new spirituality. Very, very cool stuff. Well, anyway, today we're going to talk about the four bridges or the four steps to change. How to really change any negative or limited reality creation in your life, circumstances. If you use these tools, you can get self awareness and see how you are creating the very obstacle that's in your way. You can take your power back and you can start to, if you use these steps and you really do them well, you can change any negative or limited reality creation. You ever hear these stories about people who just instantly make a decision and then their life goes in a different way? Like my husband's like that. He is amazing. I don't have this ability. I'm more like when you turn off the switch and the fan is going, it kind of slowly winds down. That's me. My husband has decided I'm giving up smoking. Boom. And didn't even have an inkling or, a thought about ever going back. Complete and total. So it was almost like on a spiritual level, in his deepest consciousness, he did these four steps so quickly because it can happen in a moment. Okay. So these are the four steps. I want to talk about them. The first one is to recognize. You recognize this is a limited or negative reality. So let me talk about that for a minute. A lot of people have stuff in their life, and maybe it's even bothering someone else, but it's not bothering them yet. So they don't actually think it's limited or negative. So they'll continue. It's only when we start to feel like, oh, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable, that we are willing to change. So first you got to recognize, you got to admit that it is limited or negative. Step two, you have to acknowledge that you created it, that it is your reality creation, that there is some belief or feeling or thought or personal approach to life, a choice or decision that led you into this negative or limited reality. Okay? And you have to acknowledge that. So one of the ways that I use is a 7-step process, okay? To find out and acknowledge, because I'll tell you why. Because there's always a payoff. There's always what we call in this industry commonly, or in specifically the modality that I use, a secondary gain. There is a gain. There's something you're getting from it. And it seems like on some weird level that it's a benefit. And you've got to find out what the hidden benefit is that makes you hold on to that limited or negative reality. This is where the real work happens. This is where you have to have honesty, introspection, and courage. Okay? So then what you do, and I'll go into those 7 in a minute, but I just want to tell you, then after you find whatever the payoffs are, then you go to forgiving yourself. But you have to not only see what you've been holding on to that's been hurting you, hurting other people, taking away your chances for success, but you have to also see the cost. What has it cost you? Then you feel the remorse. And here's a little extra something. Remorse is shame that has been hidden inside, being transformed into a healthy or positive state, emotional state. The remorse hurts. It does, it hurts. And one of the things I know about human beings is we avoid pain. We tend to go away from it, right? We don't want pain, which is for survival. But sometimes that very avoidance of pain leads us to keep something negative or limited in place. And we're actually going to get to that in a minute. And then the last part is to change to make a commitment to the new way of being and to really commit to your bright future. That possibility, that hope, that joy, that enthusiasm that you see ahead of you, and to say, yes, I want that, and I'm going to do that now. Literally can't do that without doing these other three, okay? And have it be permanent. So here's the payoffs. Here is the payoffs. Here is the secondary gains, okay? Payoffs, secondary gains. Now, these are the 7 most common. And what I really recommend you do is also look into yourself and see if there's something else going on there. But most of them fall underneath these categories, and there's 7. All right, so I'm going to talk to you about each one at a time, okay? And remember I said about avoiding pain? What do I get to avoid? By having this negative or limited reality, what am I avoiding? What do I not have to see about myself? Am I avoiding my feelings, my emotions? That's a whole other video, right? We'll talk about that in the future. Am I avoiding success? Am I avoiding humiliation or the embarrassment or the shame that I'm going to feel when I actually see how I've been buying into this? Am I avoiding confrontation, confronting myself or confronting another person? All these things, honesty, right? Any of these can be visibility. You can actually want to be invisible, mediocrity. There's all these things that you might be avoiding success or taking responsibility, because when you finally take responsibility for the limited or negative reality, then you know there's no one else to blame, which is going to come up in one of the other ones. Who do I get to punish, or who do I get to love? This is deep work. And there's actually a printout or called the Payoffs, where all this is, you go into depth. But the punishment is like, by my punishing, by my suffering, being ill, being sick, failing, I get to punish not only myself, but everyone who watches me. Because I know, okay, I'm a mom. And every time I see my son struggle, it wounds me. It's like, oh God, you know? And I'm sure when my husband sees me struggle with certain issues, it saddens him because he stands by helplessly thinking, I can't do this for you. You've got to do this for yourself. So every time we accept a limited or negative reality, we are punishing the people around us. And if you really go down to the root cause of that, it is usually because we don't think we got loved good enough. Not enough. Not the way we really wanted to be loved. And this is something also that I've heard said, that if you're not institutionalized and you've never been in an institution, or you're still listening to this video, which means you're alive, you got loved good enough to survive that way. But we are longing for a love that is bigger. You know, I was just listening to Steve Winwood's song today, Bring Me That Higher Love. I think we all want that higher love, that love of our higher self, of our future self, of what I call God, Goddess, all that is. But these are the things that are stopping us. We also get to punish everybody around us, not just our family or our friends, but literally everyone. And ultimately, what we want to do is we want to punish God and Goddess too, or the divine, or whatever name you want to say, for not coming and rescuing us and making our life work for us. Because that's what we were taught so often, that if we do it long enough and hard enough and struggle and strain, that wonderful life is going to be ours. It doesn't, and we get inwardly very, very pissed. Okay? So really, you've got to look at, are you in the punishment game? I know that I was, to the nth degree, before I did future visioning. And I have to be really honest about staying out of it on a near daily basis, because going into that trap is painful for me and for all the people around me. So that's something that I am very vigilant about. Am I feeling righteous and dishonest emotions or real feelings? Oh, this is a cool one. I tell people all the time, for the first 9 months I was doing future visioning, I didn't even read this one because I was like, what does that mean? What are, dishonest emotions? Well, dishonest emotions is something like exaggerated hurt. Like when someone does something to you and you go, oh, how dare you treat me that way? Why? Who are you? Instead of being real and honest and say, hey, you hurt me. That hurt me. Ouch, you stepped on my foot on a, spiritual or emotional level just now. Whoops, you hurt me. And it's the indignant, the righteousness. And then that leads to resentment and a lack of forgiveness. And so you're going to get stuck in that. You'll go, and instead of talking to the person that it happened with, you'll go complain to somebody else who can't do anything about it. And so then you stay stuck. So it's this really vicious cycle. You can do it by also getting depressed. Like you can take your feelings and stuff them down and get depressed. Or there's another one, and I really want you to listen to this because so many people get here and they don't realize that this is a payoff. You'll get positive and spiritual about life. Oh, it all happens for a reason. We all have to suffer in order to... no, you don't. And really, how can you be positive about, I don't know how people do it. Positive about getting cancer. Well, I learned so much from it. Well, oh my God, did you put your hand on the stove? It hurt. Did you learn from it? Most people will say, well, I've learned never to do that again. Exactly. So we make these attributes. We give attributes to suffering that really doesn't have to be there. And we do it by putting a positive spin on it. And it just leads to dishonesty. And what the saddest thing is that we're really here to have a magnificent, amazing life. This is supposed to be life on earth, adult Disneyland. So if you're not having fun riding on the rides, you might be in this third payoff. Okay, so then here we go. Number 4. What guarantee am I holding out for? So this is for people who are looking to, fearful. Now, again, for me, funny, I didn't even think I had this one. That's so funny. For 5 years, I didn't think I had that one. I was like, I don't do that. I'm courageous. No, there were deep, deep parts of me. And you know what? I'll give you a little hint here. What's the area of your life that you struggle with the most? Chances are you're looking for a guarantee where you have the most, it's like in that tape loop of oh my God, am I going to be able to do that again? Oh my God, what's going to stop me from failing here? That's wanting the guarantee. Instead of recognizing, hey, you create your reality, you can create your guarantee. We're hoping that the universe will just give it to us. If we're willing and we know we're going to get the guarantee, then I'll step up to the plate. The truth is, you step up to the plate. And there's this old saying, and I love it. You take one step and the universe takes 1,000 steps toward you. But you have to take the one step. Waiting for the guarantee is just standing there with your arms folded and not going anywhere. Okay. So, number 5. Am I manipulating with self-pity? Self-pity, my God, I actually do a 2-day workshop about how to get rid of self-pity. It has 7 different characteristics, another future video. I'm not going to go into that now. But it's really different ways that we play martyr and victim. And believe me, some of them are so pervasive, we're all in it, that we don't even know that it's a victim state. But again, it stops us from having the enriched, wonderful life where we are fulfilled. So are you manipulating? I have never found anyone who doesn't manipulate with some form of victim or martyr. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I still tend toward that and have to, again, be consciously working not to. Or if I go and I drop into it, get out of it really quick and apologize to the person that I'm with, that I just did that. Apologize to myself, actually. Am I feeling better than or less than? This is cool. I'm going to show you something about this. And I'm going to just really draw it really, really fast. Better than less than is an illusion. Actually, what it is it's kind of like the Eastern religions idea about comparing and contrasting. You can always find someone who is better than you in something, and you can always find people who are less than you, as far as information is concerned. All right? However, on a spiritual level, we really are all equal. So this is what I call better than. And this is what I call less than. I'll show you. Okay. This is better than, oops, better than. See, because this is what you're showing the world. Let's just say that this line is the conscious and what we show the world. And this is what we have going on down underneath. So better than is the top of the triangle. I'm more than you. I know more than you. I'm better than you. I'm better, right? Because you walk around and you just notice, if you're better, how everybody else just has little points, right? And you dread anybody who has a bigger, better than you. You don't want that because you are in the competitive and competition mode. Okay, so here's less than, and here's the better than that's buried underneath. So actually, it's the same thing, just invert it in what you're willing to show the world. So, so insecurity is really a superiority complex. Invert it, you know. It's really, but the truth is that these are lies. There is no better than, there is no less than. We are all equal on a spiritual level. We are all just as powerful and just as important and significant as the other person. Life starts to become very magical when you realize that getting caught up in this is not necessary. And oftentimes, if you're in less than, this is the rub, you will attract people who are in this one because it keeps you stuck in that state and you wonder why you feel that way. So getting out of it and starting to look at where's the love, where's the human to human, you know, that we can rapport. That's what you're looking for. Okay. What am I afraid of losing if I succeed? That's a really good one. A lot of people talk about fear of failure, and it's there too. I think that's more the avoiding because you want to avoid failure. However, what am I afraid of losing if I succeed? Wow, think about that. I'll have to change. I'll have to maybe be more open and visible. I'll have to leave behind my mediocrity, my old family beliefs in suffering, or perhaps, oh, and that's something that I forgot to talk to you about martyring for love. Remember this one I said? Right, who do I punish or get to love? I forgot, sorry, the love part. You can love your parents, you can love your belief system and suffer the way they told you you should suffer. Because if you succeed easily, you're going to make a fool of them, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to feel, and you don't want to leave the tribe. So really the succeeding sometimes is leaving the tribe. It really is. You might lose friends that you have because if your life really does change that much, you might be attracted to different people. But here's the really cool thing. You might bring all those people with you. Isn't that nice too? Because you will be showing people, and sometimes we're also afraid of other people's jealousy or criticism or whatever. It doesn't have to be like that. If you can create your reality any way you want, you can create success that doesn't have a downside. Okay, so this is the review, right? What we're talking about. We're talking about the 4 bridges and the 4 steps. This is a little bit of a longer video, and really I am cutting this off. I mean, when I do this in my workshop on victim, we spend like 2 hours going over these. Okay. And by the way, I put them in a book, the printout that I have, I put them in a book, and the secondary gains, I looked at this all the time. Anytime I had a crisis or a challenge and I wanted to know how I was creating my reality, I looked at these 7 steps. I asked myself, recognize the limited reality, acknowledge that I created it. This is a lifetime task, truly, and it's made me happier and happier. It doesn't make me, sadder and more depressed. No, it emancipates me. Forgive, to acknowledge which one it is, what have I avoided, who am I punishing. And by the way, it's not usually all 7. It's usually like maybe 1 or 2 or 4, 3 or 4. They sort of bundle together, and being honest and really talking about it and releasing the bundle can really make the breakthrough. Then what you do is you see the cost of it. It stopped you from being your powerful self or doing what you want to do. And then you You feel the cost of it. You feel the remorse. You feel sad about the missed opportunity, which happens every time you're able to leap into the opportunity. You know, Marianne Williamson it was who said it's not our darkness that we're afraid of, it's our light. But then Ty, my mentor, went on to say, but really it's also, we're afraid of the light because then we've got to look at the fact that we've stayed in the darkness about that issue, that area of our life, and we didn't have to, because time really is an illusion. This is all about intentionality. And then you get to realize that the good that was there, it was there the whole time. The universe isn't holding anything back from you. It's surrounding you. That's why I love this work so much, because as you let go of the blocks, your good just rushes into you because it's right there in front of you all the time, waiting for the opening. And then you forgive yourself. And forgiveness is, again, a whole deep, deep issue. Forgiving yourself means, and then forgiving the other people afterwards, means that you give up punishment, and then you can start self-love, which is another video that's coming. And then you can change. Then you can really change, and you can walk into that bright future, that new way of approaching life with the assurance that it will remain. Hey, I really hope this was useful to you. Come back to this if you're ever in the middle of a limiting or negative reality. It comes up and you want to look at this. Pause it on this part so you can really read it and see everything that's there, and just really be thoughtful about it. Love yourself into your wholeness, your bright future, your full potential. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon.